Perfect. So I have broadcasted it everywhere. So we will be getting our audience in a while, and then
Cool.
we can get started.
It's 8 o'clock.
Give us 1 second. I'll just share it as well.
Sorry?
I'm going to share it on my social
sure,
media.
man. Sure. Thanks.
That's a timeline. Oh, crazy baby crying.
No issues.
Right, share.
No issues. We have, I guess, nearly 15 visitors. Actually, the thing is, we recently moved from Instagram Live to YouTube Live. This is the first YouTube Live we are doing. So, yeah, there might be a hindrance.
Yeah.
Okay. One, 2 more minutes, and we are good to go. Okay, perfect. Let's get started. We
Cool.
already have nearly 20 guys. So, hey guys, thank you for joining. And since you all know, we have moved from Instagram due to technical issues. We were getting all the audio and video problems, and the guest has to host the entire call. So we decided why not to take a break and move over to the YouTube, because everyone can watch it over here, and it is easier to manage and share the videos as well. And thank you to all of you guys for joining over here, because I know I haven't promoted it yet, and I promoted it at the last time. I announced it at the last time. We got it confirmed, I guess, nearly 5 hours back, I guess, with Craig. And yeah, so over past few weeks, we have discussed about everything, like starting from blogging, how to start a blog from scratch, getting started with the blogging, finding niches, doing basic SEO, and all that stuff. But there's a lot of that stuff that can help you get started in the industry. Now we wanted to bring someone who can discuss the advanced level stuff, or things that can actually work in unusual niches or industries, like gambling, casino, or more of the black hat stuff, because there's a lot of demand on that, and that you can only do that when you really have command over what you do. And as for so we have today Craig Campbell, who is a Glasgow-based SEO expert with an SEO experience of 18 years. That is more than many of you have been alive. So you talk about white hat, black hat, gray hat. He has done everything. He is an expert in SEO. I guess he does email. I have seen his AdWords course as well. So he is the, I guess I will say that he is an all-rounder in search engine marketing. So would you like to add something, Craig?
Yeah, so obviously, as you say there, Vinny, I've done a lot of stuff over the years, and I kind of had to be an all-round digital marketing guy, because back then, you didn't just be an SEO guy. You had to be good at AdWords, or even to a certain extent being able to do things with WordPress and stuff like that. And yeah, I think it was just the time I get started years ago. You had to be a good all-rounder, whereas now people have segmented themselves off as the Facebook guy or the social media guy or whatever. But I like to play with everything. just try out different stuff. And I think overall, regardless of what niche you're working in, it's good to be able to try different things in different platforms and get traffic from different sources. So yeah, it's all good. And as I say, made a lot of mistakes along the way as well. And obviously, when I do things like this, question answers and stuff, I'm more than happy to try and help avoid people making the mistakes that I've made in the past, so that you can, don't waste so much time doing certain things, or go round in circles, because there's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to this type of stuff. So yeah, I'm just always glad to help people now.
That's great, man. Yeah, as you said, like there's a lot of misinformation, and many of people are just trying to get away with any information even the basics they know about, so that they can sell a course. They will just brand them as an SEO expert, and they will share even that work from them or not. And that is why that is the basic reason I started this SEO Saturdays series, because what I wanted to do was to take people or new beginners away from those kind of people who are misleading them, so that they can buy their courses and make them money rather than making themselves money. So that is the basic thing we were trying to do over here, and we have been doing. This is, I guess, the 8th week. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's we can get started with the topics we discussed. Like we have mainly, I wanted to discuss about SEO in prohibited niches like casino, gambling, porn, or adult, because I get a lot of questions or requests from people who want me to do the link building or SEO for their gambling sites, or do link building for their gambling sites, and or they have questions, how do I want to do, how should I do it myself. So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about, and there are a lot of people who want to start their own adult niche sites or gambling related sites. So they are here as well, and we have been getting this request for I guess a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
So
it's obviously a very, very lucrative industry, and I think for anyone starting out, who wouldn't want to work in casino, gambling, or porn? That's where all the billions and billions of pounds are when it comes to that. But it obviously, your tactics and your moral compass, or what you believe in, has to be fairly relaxed, because when you do SEO for a local builder or a local roofer, you don't have to actually do that much. It's some citations, some general links, some content, job done. It's not that hard. But when you enter the gambling, porn, and everything else, then you basically have to cheat, lie, and pull every trick out of the bag that you possibly can. And that's where the competition really is. And it's fun in games, and I thoroughly enjoy testing myself at that level. Just trying to just outdo everyone else, and try and also keep it hidden so that it's not so obvious. So I wouldn't consider it black hat as such. I think a lot of this stuff just simply works, and it's just the way it works in these industries, because general websites are not going to link out to a gambling or a casino website. In theory, if you find a link vendor, they charge casino guys more money to place links on websites, purely because it's gambling. So you're penalized in a lot of ways when you do gambling affiliate, and that's where you have to start looking at alternative strategies, whether that's building your own PBNs, whether you use expired domain names, whether you do some of the stuff that I spoke on in the previous webinar, where you use bait and switch techniques, whether you lie through your teeth to people and use fake personas. So there's so many things we can talk about in terms of techniques and strategies that you want to do in these niches.
So we all have both type of audience. There are people who are doing it for themselves, who want to build a website themselves, and there are people who want to provide it as a service.
Yeah.
So I am trying to keep it in the middle of both, so they both can get help from this one.
Yeah.
So the very first thing, let's suppose if someone is willing to start an adult site or a
Yeah.
gambling niche site, the first thing is to do the keyword research or niche topical research, like what things to target and what not to target, as that is the basis of all the websites, I guess.
Yeah, I think when you're getting started, the choice is really yours. You could go out there and for gambling stuff and try and compete with the biggest and the best. That's the craziest strategy you would start with. What you're going to have to do is probably niche down within gambling, for example. So,
Hmm.
within gambling, there's so many different games. So if it's online casinos or whatever, there's so many slot games, and they've all got their own individual names. And if you go into a tool like SEMrush or whatever keyword research tool you find, you can find niche specific stuff within the gambling niche. And that's where I would start. That's where you're going to get a lot of quick wins. You're going to be able to go after long tail keywords that are not that competitive, because everyone wants, all the guys out there, that are top SEOs want to go for the ego words that suit them, like gambling online or online casino or casino, just general terms like that. Whereas if you go to any gambling website, there's slot machine games and everything else that you can quite easily rank for and get thousands and thousands of hits on your website. So for me, starting out, what I would do is build a very generic, kind of gambling website, and then just have different sections within that website that cater for the top searched games within that niche. Some people might do sports betting. Some people might do, as I say, online casino stuff. The choice is really yours. If it's sports betting, for example, you can become, really niche down into English football, English Premiership, because even in India, you guys all love the English Premiership, Man United, Liverpool, everyone all over the world loves that stuff. So you don't have to just go for football gambling, because that's 10 times harder. It could just be English Premiership gambling or gambling on the Man United game. Find search terms around keywords like that, because they're going to be a hell of a lot easier than going after something like football betting, and trying to compete with people on a worldwide level. So that's the starting point. You have to go in and get something that's not overly competitive. Once you get some traffic and some money coming in, you can then build up and go after the more competitive search terms, the very generic search terms like football gambling and stuff like that. But I think what a lot of people do is make the mistake of trying to go in and aim for the sky first and go after football gambling, when there's so many other stuff that can make you money and win you a lot of stuff there, that they just bypass and try and aim for the top. And if they don't get there within 4 or 6 months, they lose heart in it and say, this doesn't work that you've ever seen.
Okay, perfect. So basically, similar to what we do with the niche sites, we start with a very small niche that we think we can dominate in our budget and with our skills, and then we get expertise in that niche, and then we keep going broader and broader and broader.
Yes,
So
exactly. Because whilst you're doing that, you're building up all your click-through rate, you're building up your domain metrics, you're building up all of that stuff that helps long-term with SEO.
mhm.
So, yeah, exactly like a niche website. Start small and just expand.
Exactly. And when you are going with the general niches, that gives you I guess a pillow that you can try to do multiple sub niches as well, because now
Yeah.
you don't need to stay in a specific niche, and now you can't even target any other niche. Let's suppose you find you are doing a research and you find a betting keyword, but that is not directly in your micro niche.
Yeah.
Now you will have to go to another website, build all the topical relevancy and authority, and get started from the beginning.
Yeah. What I would say to anyone is always have
Mm-hmm.
a plan, a short-term plan and a long-term plan. Like you're saying
Mm-hmm.
there, like I said at the start, build a very generic website like gambling, and then
Mm-hmm.
have a sports gambling, section on it, and you can do your football, your cricket, your golf, and all of that stuff. But if it's just a general gambling website, you can then move on to other stuff. Whereas if you buy a domain name like football gambling and it makes a shit ton of money, you're going to look like an idiot when you put on cricket gambling on that website. So what you then do is you end up having to manage 2 or 3 or 4 different websites, which there's nothing wrong with really. But I think in terms of management and structure, you're better having one big website that just does it all, so that you're not managing 3 or 4 different websites, and you've got that scalability option. Because I think a lot of people as well always dive in, so they always come up with an idea and dive right in, and then it's not until a year down the line when they're starting to have some success they go, we didn't really have a plan here, we're going to maybe have to rebrand so that we can scale out further. So always have a short-term and a long-term plan. Don't just jump in 2 feet first. I'm famous for it. I've done it a million times, and then thought, what the fuck was I doing? So yeah, just make sure that you do your research and have a plan of action first.
I am guilty of that as well. I have seen people that majority of my revenue comes from niche sites only, be it affiliate, AdSense, or lead generation, whatever it may be, but it comes from niche sites. So, and I have been doing that, event blogging, all that stuff. I have gone through that. We have been doing that, like 10,000 live real time that we guys do. And now we used to see these people that used to build niche sites and used to add that year in the domain name as well. And then they have to renew it over and over again and change the domain name every year. Otherwise, it looks weird. Yeah, so guys, basically it is the same thing you are doing with the niche sites. You just have to do that in a different market right now.
It's the same no matter what, whether you're doing e-commerce, gambling, or a niche website, the methods and the structure are the same. It's just how aggressive you become with the kind of link building and stuff that's likely to change.
Okay, perfect. So let's suppose we do the keyword research. We have we have bought a generic domain and we have built a generic website where we want to target multiple betting keywords in different sub niches. Now, how would you go around building the structure of the website and handling the technical SEO part of the website?
I mean, I think there's multiple different ways in how you can approach that. Initially, I would probably start off with making the website all about something like football, and I would make a success of it. And I would have like the navigation and everything else, a nice silo structure all based around football. But longer term, I'm going to change the navigation bar as such, but I would have my silos all, gambling /football /English Premiership, or, whatever. I would make sure that I had a good silo structure so that when the time does come, your main navigation bar can be tweaked so that you can then add in golf, horse racing, cricket, rugby, and all of the other sports long term. But what you want to do is make your website look like a niche website in general to begin with. Just, have a nice navigation that's just different options about football, for example, if that's your topic, that you wanted to begin with, and make it look like a niche website. But just bear in mind that silo structure has to be rigid from the start, because you are essentially going to just have football as one little bit in your main navigation in the long term, even though it might be fully dominated with football in the short term. So I think in terms of technical stuff, having a website on a good solid WordPress platform with a reasonable hosting company and doing all of the basics that you do with any other website that you work on, have a good solid internal linking structure. So you're always going to have, 5 or 10 power pages on your website, and then you're going to have a blog that, might have a whole, you might have 100 blogs that all talk about the English Premiership, which so then you can, internally link to the main English Premiership page to pass power to that page through internal linking. But that's the same across any website. So in terms of technical that's always going to remain the same regardless of what website you're on. But the silo structure is the part at the start that you need to get right, because that silo is going to be solid. And again, what you don't want to be doing is taking, doing redirects and all that kind of stuff, because you've just stuck up any old URL structure. So the URL structure is really important from the get-go. In terms of the look of the website and the feel of the website and the main navigation of the website, it can be anything you want, really. Just make it look nice, easy, and simple. And as I say, on WordPress is probably always going to be your choice. And I think that's something we can all make loads, within a few seconds without any kind of great technical expertise. But same rules apply, just good, solid technical, good content, and some decent links.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Okay. So, yeah. So what we can do is basically we have to get become an authority in a sub niche and then funneled over and over on a different niches. That's how we can go when you are just starting, because when you are going in a very sub niche or micro niche, that allows you to become an authority in that specific niche. Now all the people in the particular industry or particular micro industry knows you, that if you have to bet in a this certain topic, you have to go to this website.
Yeah.
Now many of those people want to make money from other games as well, or other betting platforms as well. Now you can keep adding those options for them, and slowly and steadily, and they will themselves get they will themselves explore all those options, and if they like, they will keep doing it over and over again, and they will keep recommending it to their peers and colleagues. Okay, that makes sense. So this is the main thing. We basically, I guess, everyone here is for. So we have a domain, we have a niche, we have sub niches, we have keywords. Now we know how to set up the website. But the main thing comes now. Okay, we have the content. Now
Yep.
how to promote it, be it SEO or any other strategy. How to promote it? What will be your ideal strategy?
I mean, I think to begin with, any website, you have to get traffic to it quite quickly. What I would always go and do is build some basic links, to kick off the SEO. So you're going to try and get as many good quality relevant links as you're going to get. But obviously SEO is going to take 2-3 months to start to get those good rankings. So what you want to do is start to go on forums, social media, try and build a social media audience, get on things like YouTube, get on things, and one of the things you've got in your document here to ask me about is Parasite SEO. You probably want to implement something like Parasite SEO, and what does that mean? So I'm going to explain what that means for people who don't understand what that is. So Parasite SEO is essentially taking advantage of things like YouTube or Reddit or Web 2.0s like Wix or whatever it may be. These are all very, very powerful websites, and because of the kind of authority these websites have, any content you put on here, you can instantly get quick wins. So, for example, I done a question and answers on Blackhat SEO on Wednesday there with a guy called Chris Palmer. Now, if you go to YouTube just now and Google Blackhat SEO, you will see that video in the top 3 in YouTube. It ranked within an hour. Now, that's a very quick win for me. So someone goes to YouTube. Now, how did that work? Now, of course, you have to do a bit of YouTube SEO. You've got to tag up your videos. You've also got to make sure that your video gets super engagement. So, you've got to get people commenting. You've got to get people viewing the video. Now, whether you use a bot to do that or whether you use your Facebook group or, what you're doing here, you're essentially funneling people from your Instagram onto YouTube Live. Now, it's quite easy to do. So you can get quick wins from Parasite SEO, and that's essentially what that is. As I say, whether that's using a subdomain on Wix or something like that, or using Reddit or anything. These websites are powerful as hell, and I can get rankings like that on YouTube. So why would I not go to YouTube first and foremost and say best gambling offers and do a video about it, talk about it, or make a cartoon about it, or whatever? You've got to put content out there, and there's so many things other than traditional SEO that you can use to drive traffic to a website. Now, when you drive traffic to a website, it's going to get click-through rate, it's going to get engagement, it's going to get... in fact, I'm going to show you something. Let me show you. So as you probably know, I gave away a free SEO course a few weeks ago. Now, I have done no SEO to this particular training platform that my website's on. But you'll see, I've not even built a link to it. Look at the URL. It's a subdomain that ranks for my own brand name. There's two, there and there. Now, that is done because of the sheer volume of people who have hit the training course website. So I've done no SEO, I've built no links, but what I have done has been able to get nearly 25,000 people enrolled on the course. Now, through that sheer click-through, that URL has begun to rank. I don't optimize for that. And so click-through rate is a really important thing for Google. If Google sees a video or a page, it doesn't really matter what it is, as viral, then it's going to rank it. Now, link building can help. Of course, on-page can help. But by sheer volume, you've been able to see that I can rank a subdomain on Thinkific for my own brand name without building a single link, because of the sheer engagement it's got. Now, Google are going to look at websites and say that page or that YouTube video has had 5,000 hits in the last 10 days. That must be a page that's worth talking about. So it's obviously going to look at your links, your links and your on page and whatever else is involved in the algorithm and rank you accordingly. But click-through rate is a powerful, powerful, powerful thing. And it's why I'm quite happy to come on to channels like this and get people to like my YouTube channel, because sheer engagement is going to help my overall SEO traffic grow. So I'm utilizing Parasite SEO, so to speak, to be able to grow my YouTube audience, funnel people into a Facebook group, rank websites, rank videos, and I don't even need to do SEO. I don't need to build links. So that is a first thing that you can do out with doing SEO. You don't have to do SEO to make a good business. You can make business from paid social media. You can make business from paid social ads. You can use Parasite SEO, which we're talking about just now. There's so many different ways that you can drive traffic in. And you Indian guys, you are good at all this stuff. You've got Telegram. You guys have got WhatsApp groups. You've got so many different platforms that you could drive 100 people to this video, no problem. With an hour, with an hour to spare, with an hour's notice. So you guys are already doing it, but you need to do it in a structured way for the money making that you're doing as well, because it's the same thing. Just drive people in, get that engagement on your website. And as I say, Parasite SEO is about getting your Reddit, your Reddit gambling post viral, get some stuff in YouTube ranking well, get some other stuff ranking well, which in turn helps your SEO grow as well. Now, while you're building links, doing your own page, adding more content, you continue to do all of this other stuff. And before you know it, in a couple of months' time, you're starting to grow, you're starting to see results, you're starting to make money. And then it's a case of rinse and repeat. Whatever's working very well for you, whether it's building PBNs, whether it's using expired domain names, whether it's using Parasite SEO, it doesn't matter. You have to do what works. And as I say, click-through rate is a massive ranking factor. And something I think going forwards that Google are going to continue to use, because link building can be easily manipulated, content can be easily manipulated, all the on-page can be easily manipulated. What is the deciding factor on whether this video is good and another video is crap? You know, it's going to be the level of engagement the video gets, how many likes the video's got, how many people are going to comment below on the YouTube channel. Try it out. You'll see it works. As I say, go to incognito, go to YouTube, put in Blackhat SEO, and you'll probably see 3 or 4 of my videos on the top page for that. And does that help drive traffic? Of course, because YouTube is the second biggest search engine after Google, and more people are responding well to video. So in terms of, as I say, that's me talking about YouTube as Parasite. There's plenty of other platforms, Vimeo, there's Twitch, there's so many other things where you can utilize the power of video to make money. Now, you can also use Reddit, Blogger, and anything else to use content. So you can use content. It doesn't always have to be videos. I'm talking about videos because I'm big on videos. You can use content. You can use promotional stuff, infographics. You know, there's different platforms for different stuff. Like a great infographic would work very well in Pinterest. It's not going to work well in YouTube. So you have to think about what you're doing. A video, an educational video works well in YouTube. An infographics more suited to something like Pinterest. So you have to make sure that you're distributing the right content on the right platforms and utilize the power of these platforms to drive traffic to your website. As simple as that. And if you can do that for whether it's gambling, whether it's for SEO, or whether it's for a local builder, it doesn't matter. You know, you're still driving traffic. So again, Parasite SEO is something that's very powerful and something I would be implementing from the start, because you can get quick traffic, you can get some decent engagement, and it just gets the ball rolling. And you know, your overall, your long-term goal is to rank well for every search term going on Google. That is the creme de la creme of getting there. But you can use videos and everything else to make sure that you're forcing that power and funneling everything back into your website, which in turn is going to make your website skyrocket through the roof.
Perfect. Basically, we have to have a short-term strategy and long-term strategy, because if we only depend on the long-term strategy, we won't be getting that ROI in the initial investment we are putting in, right? So we need to be, whatever works in the short term, we need to do that in the short term, and at the same time, we need to be focusing on SEO. And as you mentioned that the CTR thing, we have already seen that over the past few years that it has become a very important ranking factor. Links are only able to bring you to the top 10 results or top 5 results. But after that, for top 3, you have to compete it on user experience, CTR, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And basically, as you mentioned that doing the viral things, when you are doing something viral, that is basically people are going to search about you after seeing that content, be it a video, be it a content or a Reddit forum. And when they know that, let's suppose I am searching about you, it's obvious that I am going to open your website. And it is easy for Google to interlink or relate to that searches and CTR.
Exactly. It's, as I say, it's why I'm doing so many videos these days, and why people ask me, do you want to come in my YouTube channel? Well, why the fuck not? You know, I'm going to get more engagement, more exposure, you know, and it overall helps everything. So yeah, that's something I'm using, you know, at the start of a campaign. Obviously, when it comes to gambling, it's not going to be quite as easy as just using Parasite. As I say, you still have to use PBNs, 301s, all of that kind of stuff to go after the big money keywords.
So that's what I'm going to try with this video to try for the Blackhat SEO or Prohibited niches SEO and all that stuff. We will try to rank this one as well. Let's see how that works.
Yeah.
So we talked about short term, long term. different promotional methods. But now, what we are here for, the basic SEO or basic link building. What are the link building strategies that you personally use for going forward with the gambling niches or adult niches?
So I'm going to share my screen because I think it's easier for me to share my screen and talk you through some of this stuff that I do.
Yeah, sure.
Spamzilla. So one of the first things I do is go to a tool like Spamzilla. So as I say, I want to build a PBN or I want to do a 301 redirect. You know, it's one of the first strategies that I do. So I'm going to put in something like gambling here and see what's available. So today, there might not be a great amount of gambling websites out there, but I can have a look and see which ones. There's going to be a lot of crap here. So there's some here. So I've just filtered these down because one thing that I do look for is the amount of backlinks a website's got. So we'll be able to see here that some of these websites here have some decent backlinks going to them. So this one here has 7,410 backlinks, gamblinggame03.com. So I'm going to have a look at this. So the next part of the process is get Ahrefs up. And let's check this shit out and see what's going on. So the DR is not great just now, but the referring domain names, let's see what they've got. So it doesn't look too good. It actually looks pretty crap. To be honest, there doesn't look as if there's a lot of power or a lot of super relevant links there. It just seems to be a lot of the kind of crappy Russian stuff and, Music Galaxy is not really very relevant. It looks kind of crap. So I'm going to write that domain off just now. And I'm back to there. The backlink profile is not good enough for me when I'm looking at it. So I'll try another one. Your online gambling. In fact, I'm going to change it. There's one here that's got that one there, gamblinguscasino.org. So what I tend to do is just filter about, there's nothing there that's going to give me the best domain name straight away. Now I can see here, again, Madonna forums, Russian links, it's all crap. Now, what you're going to find in a niche like gambling is you're going to have to do a lot more research on these tools. But what you're looking for is something that's got a decent volume of backlinks. So if I put in something like SEO, just a different niche so that you can understand, what I'm looking for is a website that's got decent DR, which is the domain rating score, and it's got decent amounts of backlinks. So you can see here, ultimateseomaster.com seems to have a DR of 60. It seems to have a lot of backlinks. And if I scroll along, we'll be able to see that that's a website that I would probably buy. It's $12. Now, the next thing I would do is, give me a second.
Sure.
Back, ultimateseomaster.com is put that into Ahrefs and see what backlinks it's actually got. Now, if this is get good backlinks from industry-related websites and a whole bunch of other stuff, then it is potentially going to work for me. The backlink profile is not great on this one as well, which is probably why it's still sitting there. But it's got a good DR score, which is concerning. It's got JV Zoo, that's why. But it's got a DR of 60. You can see, it's got referring domain names. you can also see that that website has never really had any traffic. So again, that would worry me, because that DR looks to be manipulated in some way, because that website's never had traffic, it's never had any real rankings. So why would it have a DR of 60? You know, it's clearly been manipulated. So you have a look through here, and what you'll find is eventually you'll find something that is decent, and it does have decent it has had a good previous history, because what I want is a website that has previously had traffic, it has had rankings and stuff like that. Now I'm going to bet this one's not really had any either. So again, that's crap. I thought that might have been better. But what you want to do is find something with good, solid backlinks. Again, look at this. Absolute garbage. And the reason that this has actually got a DR of 35 is because it's got so many other D35s from all these Chinese websites. So it's DR manipulation. So you would stay well clear of that. And this is actually a good example. Do not only buy domain names, or do not get links from websites that only have that have good DR scores. They've also got to have good traffic. They've also got to have previous history. Otherwise, what's the benefit? Because DR is something that's very, very easy to manipulate. So Spamzilla is the first thing I look at. And the other good thing about Spamzilla is you can look up the Wayback Machine and see what was on the website previously as well. And it also gives you a spam score as well. So if it's been spammed to death, like this one has, you wouldn't touch it. So anything with an X here, you wouldn't touch, because it's got words like lesbian and stuff like that in the anchor text. So it's clearly been used for some porn website or whatever. And it also tells you that whether the domain name's available, whether it's in GoDaddy auction. And you see here that there probably is a real good domain name here, but it's worth $6,000. This one here, ergoseo.com. So, you know, you can see the prices of it as well if it's in GoDaddy auctions, and you can buy a good domain name there. Now, I'm going to show you one that I've bought previously now.
Sure.
So I bought Nigel Farage, mep.co.uk. Now, the reason I bought this as a PBN was the referring domain names that this particular website had. So you'll be able to see it has links from YouTube, Wikipedia, New York Times, Forbes, The Guardian, BBC, and a whole bunch of other websites. There's actually 516 of them. The more I scroll down, you know, it's all very, very relevant websites that are out there. And, you know, that is what I'm looking for. This guy's a politician. He's on the radio. He's on every news article across the world. So that's why that website's got a nice DR. That's what I'm looking for. Now, I'm also going to look at the website. And you see DR41. And give me a second. And you'll be able to see that the website's had traffic over the years as well. I'm just going to take the www dot away, and it will show some better stats. So you'll be able to see that that website's had a lot of good traffic and a lot of good rankings over the years. And that's what I'm looking for in terms of buying a PBN. Now, what happens from there is I repopulate the website. So Nigel,
I guess this is the same domain we talked about on Zoom call, right?
Yeah. So it's just an example of it. I don't want to give away other PBNs. This one's just more for showing people. So that is exactly how the guy's website looked on the Wayback Machine. I've just repopulated the website, and what I can do is I can place links on there, you know, within the website, or I can add some blog posts or whatever. and add content in there. So it's really up to me where I want to place links. Now that's a good solid PBN there, and I can either place links within the internal pages there, on the home page, wherever I decide to link to. The website also makes money from the Amazon affiliate that's on here as well. So if you click on that, that will take you to my Amazon affiliate ID, and the guy sells a lot of books. So that pays, the the guy's a well-known guy, so that pays for the hosting and it pays for the PBN essentially, and everything else is a bonus. Now you're going to do that across the gambling niche on a much bigger scale. Now, it's in my opinion that building a PBN is more powerful than doing a 301 redirect. Reason being is building a domain name, you can utilize these PBNs on multiple websites that you've got. Whereas if you build and do a 301 redirect, you're only limited to one website. So for me, building a PBN is really important because you can power up a website and then power up another website and another website, and you can exchange links with other PBN owners and say, hey, dude, I've got a DR45 here. What have you got? And exchange a link and all that stuff. So it gives you something else to negotiate with as well. But I think overall, people are sitting in the fence, do you do a 301 redirect? Do you do a PBN? Now, what I would say is, if I buy a PBN, I will also make it an affiliate website. Now, I used to always make it an Amazon affiliate website. I would now change that approach because Amazon have slashed their commissions. But a PBN doesn't just have to serve as a PBN. You can utilize all that power, all of those backlink profiles to make that into something else, whether it's selling a guy's book or whatever. Anything can make money. So make your PBN a real website. Make sure that your PBN gets regular content on it. Make sure that your PBN does get some form of link building. Now, with PBNs, in terms of powering up your PBNs, I personally use automated links to power up my PBNs. The reason for that is there's not enough budget within a PBN for me to pay out for guest posts or pay out for a guy to build me links on a full-time basis, because the PBN doesn't make me that much money. So I will use tools like GSA, SEO Autopilot, and Web 2.0's, Parasite SEO, all of that stuff to power up the PBNs. But what happens is I'm using the PBNs as a buffer between my money website at the top and all the shit that goes underneath it. And I think, again, when I said on the last Zoom call, that you can be very aggressive towards your PBNs. It's never going to damage your money website as long as you've got that buffer there. Now, if you do too much and you get a PBN banned, you just need to simply replace it with another domain name and start again. As I say, the main job is not to get someone banned. However, in gambling, relevance doesn't really matter. You don't have to get a gambling related link. I think if you look at any gambling website out there, they do not care. They will get gambling links on hotel websites. They'll get them on anything. They literally, because gambling's such a hated niche, it's of my belief that Google just doesn't care. It's not got the same impact on relevance because there's guys out there that I know who work in the gambling niche who will simply buy any old expired domain name and use it as a PBN. They'll just build shit out on it and they'll place links all over that website. And if it works for 3 months or 6 months, they don't care. They've got that much money that relevance is not important. Now, what I would say is if you want to do the job properly, try and make it at least semi-relevant. Buy sporting-related domain names. You can buy some generic stuff as well. But I think in gambling, the guys are going for sheer volume of links rather than quality. And sometimes the sheer volume also seems to work in gambling. So But as I say, I see a couple of guys talking about 301 redirects and stuff like that. You can do a 301 redirect and it can work reasonably well. And someone's saying how to check traces of a past 301 redirect. Now, if I was going to do a 301 redirect, which I do on occasion, what I tend to do is put the domain name up on just a random WordPress theme, and I grab old URLs and I put the website up. Now, if that website ranks for its old URL, it doesn't matter whether it's page 1, page 2, or page 3. That old content ranks very quickly, then that domain is fit to do a 301 redirect because it carries some power. If it doesn't, then the chances are that domain's been blacklisted and banned by some other SEO. And that's something you can't see. There's no tool out there that says this has been spammed. Spamzilla does say the anchor text on here is talking about lesbians or whatever it might be, but it doesn't say indefinitely it's been banned. So my process for this is just chuck the URLs up and the content, copy and paste it, put it on a fresh version of WordPress, and see if that ranks well within a few weeks. And if it does, you can then make a decision as to whether you populate that with a PBN or just do a 301 redirect. But what I would also say as well is when you put a website back up that has expired, those domain metrics normally double. If you repopulate the website, once all the links and everything start working again, your DR score doubles. Why wouldn't you ever use that as part of your overall process anyway? If you were to simply just grab a DR30 and redirect it, it's always going to be a DR30. There's nothing else there. Whereas if you that's sitting at a DR30 now, when it's been down for a year, it's had no content on it for a year, it's still a DR30 based on the backlinks. If you hit the website on that with the old URLs, it may jump up to a DR45. So a lot of people are missing that part of the process as well. So you can repopulate that, check if it's been spammed to death. If it has, sorry, you've lost. There's no point using it. Throw it in the bin and redo and just rinse and repeat that process. But one thing I want to say on PBNs, and I think I mentioned it on the last talk, don't scrimp and scrape on your PBNs. Make sure they are real websites on real hosting accounts with an SSL certificate. Don't just shove up a 2-page website and link out to your money website, because what you see is the metrics will just drop and drop and drop until it's worthless, and you're paying for hosting on something that really has no value. So I think treat PBNs like real websites is something I would always say to people to do. And no matter what niche you're in, anything competitive, people are using an element of PBNs in the mix. Now, of course, use Parasite SEO, buy guest posts, do all of that stuff. But when it comes to competitive niches, you have to be doing something more than the next guy. And the problem you've got with the gambling niche is they're all doing PBNs, they're all doing 301 redirects, they're all lying to people, they're all doing the image trick that I mentioned, they're all doing the bait and switch method, they're all doing cloak 301 redirects. That's something you really have to do to gain that competitive edge. You have to do these things, because if you don't, you're always going to be languishing in position 10, because all of them other guys are cheating the hell out of it. They're also doing CTR manipulation. They're all doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So I would advise anyone, before you go into the gambling niche, unless you've got a real budget, there's no point in trying to compete at the top end of the table, because these guys are quite happy to spend 10 grand a month on CTR manipulation alone. That's the kind of budget these guys play with. They'll spend another 10 grand on PBNs per month, and they'll spend another 10 grand on whatever. Then they'll spend another 50 grand on paid advertising. Some of these guys are spending up to $100,000 a month on the marketing, but they're making hundreds and millions of pounds, the most successful guys. Now, for you to go in there with £1,000 a month budget and some shitty ass strategy, you're just never going to compete. So that's why I would always say you're going to have to go in at the bottom, earn some money and build shit up. It's the only way you can do it unless you have a serious investor to go into that market, because these guys are literally dropping big money on everything.
Yeah, that was really insightful. So, like as you mentioned, we have with the 301. That's the same the method I have been personally testing with my websites. Like first we are making the website live. So basically, whenever the AHS bot was going earlier on that website was saying that that website is giving them a 404, and they are automatically removing the DR numbers or the links.
Yeah.
Now when you put it up, they are seeing that whenever that bot crawls them again, they see the link is live now, and
Yeah.
they boost it up. And sometimes what we are trying is this thing as well, that let's suppose we made a website live for 301 and it is performing better than all other websites. So what we will do, we will point a few links from our PBNs to that expired domain website as well, so that when we redirect, then all that link juice is passing to our main website. So does it make sense? Like, I was about to ask you the same thing. Do you do this thing like whenever you are making a website live for a 301, are you trying to make links for that if you want to give it more power?
Of course, yeah. I mean, when you grab a domain name, you're buying it. You know, if you can power that up by spending a month of spamming the shit out of it and, powering that up with a whole bunch of stuff, of course, it's going to make it a lot more powerful. And I think that's something I do with most links that I get anyway, whether that's a guest post. If I buy a guest post as well, I'm going to power that shit up because I'm not happy with buying a DR30. I want a DR50, but I want to pay the price for a DR30. So I'll use my own ways of powering that stuff up. And that goes for 301 redirects. I'll maybe leave the website for 2 months live, just populated with a general WordPress theme, and smash the shit out of it with automation, SEO autopilot, or whatever your chosen method of tool is. I might even buy some Fiverr gigs, whatever. Just push it to its limits, get that DR up, and then boom, redirect it in or populate a PBN on it and just continue. If it's going to be a PBN, then I would just set up a continuous process where someone's going to be populating that with some spam month on month.
Makes sense. So other thing I want to ask you is, like, there are a lot of people are testing different things, like where to 301 the exact domain. Do we do it on homepage? Do we do it on the money page? And I have also heard that like people are building a separate page where they are mentioning that we have acquired that domain and they are redirecting the domain to that page and getting all the link juice on that page, and then they are linking out to their money page internally. What will be the best strategy?
I mean, I think you've got to mix that strategy up. There's no right or wrong answer. Of course, sending a redirect to your homepage can help your overall metrics. But I think in most cases, I would be redirecting them to a money page. Now, when you're doing it in sheer volume in the gambling niche, I have also been known to link to my sitemap, which gives it a nice little boost as well. So I have also been known to do redirects to my sitemap and seen some gains from that. But in general, mainly money pages I would redirect to. I try and not waste too much power going to my homepage anyway, because regardless of where I point the link, whether it's to a money page or not, the overall DR of the homepage is going to go up. Now, I don't need my homepage to be any more powerful than it really is. As long as I can rank for my brand and a couple of generic phrases, then I would want to power up my money pages. But as I say, use a mixed strategy. Don't just slam everything to the homepage. Don't just slam everything to a specific money page. Mix that shit up all over the website, because you're essentially just pointing power to different elements of your website. And I bought a domain name the other day, and I just redirected it to my free training course page, because I want to. If you Google free SEO course, I'm sat at the top of page 2 just now. Now I just got a 301 redirect and put that in, and hopefully when it kicks in, it will nudge me up onto page 1. And yeah, so why would I not do that? I want to, I've got a goal in mind. I want to be in page 1 for free SEO course. That's going to drive me a lot of traffic. It's going to get me a lot more engagement. It's going to get me a lot more followers. So that is my goal. And how am I going to get from the top of page 2 up onto page 1? If that 301 redirect doesn't work, I might add another 5. I might add another 4 PBNs into the mix, and I'll see where it goes. Now, if I add another, 4 or 5 PBNs and 301s, and it takes me to position 5, I may then start to do some more click-through rate manipulation to see if it goes into position 4, position 3, and so on. So you just throw some stuff out there, see what works, mix it all up, and boom, you have a goal in mind, though, because you're obviously monitoring your keywords, and I know that I want to rank for free SEO course, and I know I will. The page has only been up for 3 weeks, and I'm at the top of page 2. I will be at the top of page 1. I just don't know whether I need to add 20 links to it. I don't know if it's 50 links and CTR manipulation and whatever it might be. So, as I say, no one knows that answer. I've just got to, every other week, just test different stuff, throw different stuff at it, and eventually it will come good.
Perfect. As you mentioned that sometimes you point your expired domain to the sitemap. I understand that it may help with the increasing the crawl budget of the website or improving the crawl rate of the crawler. Is there anything else that it helps with?
I mean, your sitemap is still a URL on your website, so it powers up your website as well. And as far as I'm concerned, having a more powerful sitemap than someone else, I'm not saying this is just my own theory, by the way. But having a more powerful sitemap than your competition, in my opinion, gives you a little edge. So, yeah, give it a try. As I say, we try different stuff. We don't know. I've never done this as a single variable test. I like to think outside the box and try things. But while I'm trying things, I might try 2 or 3 different things at once. So I'm not sure how effective it is. But obviously, increasing your crawl rate and increasing the power of the URL on your website, I don't see there's anything wrong with it. So, and as I say, I've got a theory where if I've got a more powerful sitemap, Google might like my website better. So it's something I'm quite comfortable with in my process. And it might be complete and utter horse shit, but it's part of my process and I believe it works. So as I say, I would always encourage people, when you hear things like that, try it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Actually try it yourself and then make your own conclusion as to whether that has any impact on what you're doing.
Exactly, that's what we have been trying to tell people, that even if one strategy has been working continuously for us, that might not work for you. Maybe we have a different budget. Maybe you are not able to invest that much. So that will work. That same strategy that is working for us will give you different results. So try it for yourself. You might even come up with a better strategy than we have, and that is happened all the time.
Yeah.
And another thing I understand from the sitemap thing is that, let's suppose we already boosted the authority of sitemap. Now all the other pages are already linked to the sitemap, so all that link juice will be passing on those pages, and all the money pages will be getting all the link juice.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I will try this one for sure. Okay, we already talked about we touched about PBN. So I just wanted to take your your POV on how you go around setting up a PBN or buying auction domains or expired domains or all that stuff.
So, as I say earlier, I use Spamzilla, which
Mm-hmm.
can either be auction domain names or expired domain names. What
Mm-hmm.
you tend to find though is that most of the shit that drops is the stuff that no one else wants. You're always 95% of the time always better buying an auction domain because it carries some power, and a lot more, and people will jump in before you and buy it on auction because it's just going to be a free for all when it drops, and it's just down to luck. So if there's a great expiring domain name and it's going to drop tomorrow, what's to
Mm-hmm.
stop the whole of India all trying to register that domain name? And that's why clever guys just auction their domain names, because there'll be some sneaky SEO guy out there who will just pay someone $100 to avoid the whole waiting for it to expire and drop catching the domain name, hitting it with loads of different accounts, trying to get it when it expires. So that's the catch-22 position you're in. Do you wait and wait to see what shit no one else wants drops, or do you just pay a little bit more money and go to the auction? I would always say 95% of the time you can go to the auction and buy a domain name, and sometimes they're $12, sometimes they're $50, sometimes they're 50 grand. Obviously, you're not going to spend $50,000 on a crappy expired domain name. However, anything between $12 and 50 or 100 quid is perfectly fine. I would be quite comfortable paying that if it was going to give me the advantage over all of the other guys who are waiting for everything to expire. Because if you go to something like expireddomains.net, there's one golden gem on there all the time, but in general, it's just bullshit that's on there. It's all the stuff that no one else wants. It's all the domain names that have been burnt to death and spammed to death that are sitting there. So I would always say go to the auction, and that's why I like Spamzilla, because it gives you both. It will give you expired domain names, and it will also give you domains that are on the auction that are about to expire. And you can see the price. So that's why, as I say, Spamzilla is a great tool because it pulls in both of those data sets, and then you can make a decision. So if you've got £200 a month, $200 to assign to buying PBNs for this month out of a client's campaign, then you can quickly go through Spamzilla and just watch and say, right, I'm going to bid £50 for this one or $20 for that one, and maybe buy 4 or 5 good domain names from the auction and either use them for a PBN or a redirect.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's suppose we found a good expired domain that has some quality backlinks, has a good back history, and has had traffic in the previous time, and now we want to set it up. What will be our ideal strategy to set it up?
I mean, that is up to you. And now some people go down the road of just putting up what was previously on the website. That's not always the best option for me. So what I would do, as I said to you, I make most of my websites an affiliate website in some way or another. So what I do is I pay a guy to design me a nice PBN website. It's $100. I pay him to put the template up. And what he also does is goes to the Wayback Machine and grabs all the old URLs and puts the appropriate redirects on them and puts them to the new URLs that are going in my website. So sometimes with a PBN, I will just make an entirely new website with new URLs, fresh content and everything else, and just redirect all of the old URLs into the new website and start it up as an affiliate website, because as long as you do the 301 redirect, you'll still retain a lot of the power from the previous backlinks that you've had. So that is the ideal process. And as I say, that's the one that I use most frequently, because I don't believe in just repopulating a website and using it as a PBN. I want to monetize that PBN. How do I monetize it? I can go to, if it's a hotel domain name that's dropped, I will set up a booking.com affiliate, and I'll go after some long tail keywords there and make some money on it. If it's, a gambling one, I would set up a gambling affiliate and make some money on that PBN as well. So although your gambling PBN, use the SEO, might be employed by a big gambling company, and they're giving you £20,000 a month to buy up, some expired domain names or whatever. You could probably make another £20,000 a month by just setting up your own affiliate program on these PBNs as well. Don't just use them for a PBN to power up their website. Use them for your own affiliate shit as well. That's the thing that people are so stupid with, and they're not doing. So there's an affiliate deal for pretty much every single thing out there. Whether you make a huge amount of money doing it or not is irrelevant, but make sure that your PBNs are set up to be a real website. And that's what I do. Fresh content, my own, navigation structure, set it up as I would if it was my own website, and do the 301 redirects from the old URLs to retain the power from a website. And then, as I say, from there, I will get fresh content put on it, and I will also use automated link building to boost the power of that website.
Perfect. So I have two questions here. Like, first one I missed in the expired domain part. We have heard once and again that you should only prefer those domains that has majority of the links to the homepage. What is your take on that?
No, I mean, who only links to the homepage? Who do you know that only links to the homepage? That's just not how life works. So if you're looking for an expired domain name and you're looking for that domain to have done something that no one really does, then you're not really going to find much out there. Everyone makes sure that links go to other pages on other on their website. So I think that's BS if someone's saying that that's something they use. Sorry, whoever said that, by the way, but yeah, it's just not I don't agree with it.
That makes really good sense, because we have been hearing that only go with domains that has only homepage links. Otherwise, you won't get all that link juice, even though you do 301 and all that stuff. We have been hearing all that BS. So I just wanted to clear that up, because you have been doing all the lot of testing over PBNs, right?
Look, if someone like the New York Times links out to an internal page on Manu PBN, I can either do the 301 redirect to pass that juice, and it'll work. Go away and test it. Like, that's the whole purpose of getting in and doing the 301 redirect. We're not doing the 301 redirect from the old URL for the goodness of our health. We're doing it to grab the power from those fucking links that are going to internal pages. And it's madness. Like, sometimes some of the powerful links that you've got may be natural. They may not be placed by an SEO. People may link to, for example, the guy I've got, the politician guy, people were linking not just to his homepage, they were linking to specific things on his website, how to contact him, specific things he said, all of that stuff, and I don't want to lose any of that link juice. And that's why the process is get the 301 redirects done first to the most appropriate page to retain that power. So, as I say, sorry, it's BS. Whoever said that other thing was talking shit.
Thank you for clearing that up. And so my other question was that, as you mentioned, that you mostly repopulate the website, and many times you do it different from the previous how it was set up.
Yeah.
So the new repopulation you do, is it relevant to the old content, or is it completely new?
Not always. It depends on the domain name. Of course, sometimes it's going to be, if I buy a sports related website, I can't really make it a gambling. If I buy a sports related domain name, I can't really turn it into a furniture website or something. It's just not going to work. So it really depends on the nature of the domain name. In most cases, you're going to be doing something very similar. Now, I could buy a hotel expired domain name and repopulate it, which I have done. But it's a different hotel. It's a different bunch of hotels that are on the website. So, you don't have to have exactly the same thing that was on there. If it's a generic domain name, you could potentially just rebrand and, make it something completely different. But I think in a lot of cases, if you're buying expired domain names, the chances are you're going to be setting up something fairly similar on it. But, you can have your own spin on it, your own content, your own stuff. And there's nothing at all wrong with that. But as I say, you're not going to go out there and buy builders in Bangalore, for example, and then try and sell garden furniture on it or something. That would be crazy because people are looking for a builder. So yeah, common sense applies in this instance.
Makes sense. Okay, so we have one question similar to this one. I will just read it out. So how do we decide that we should repopulate the expired domain with old content or use it as a fresh website?
That's down to your personal choice. What's the benefit of repopulating the old website? Now, in the example I've given, the Nigel Farage one, I had no option but to repopulate that as the old website because legally, if I was trying to say that I was him or I used that domain name in any other way, I would be in deep shit. However, in most other cases, you're buying a domain name, and whether you want to just simply use that for power, it's your choice. If it's only going to be used for passing link juice, then just repopulate the old website. You will take away your costs for new content and all that kind of stuff. However, as I say, in 90% of cases, I will use it as a fresh website because I want to monetize my PBNs as well and make sure that I'm not the one footing the bill for the PBNs year on year. They're making their own money, they're paying for themselves, and it brings in some additional revenue. So that is what makes the decision for me. I don't want to pay for PBNs and all the hosting and all the domain renewals year on year because I was building PBNs for a company, or whatever. So I think it's really up to yourself, but it's a personal choice. Why would you populate a website with old content unless you weren't going to monetize it?
Makes sense. Okay, so we bought the domain, we set up the website. Now it's the time to link out to our money websites. So
Yep.
how do you link to how many times do you link out to? Because we have heard over and over again that you should not link out to 2 or 3 times from a single website or single page. And so how do you go about it?
Again, a mixed approach. Now, of course, you're going to start to leave a footprint if you start linking out to all your money websites from all your PBNs. So essentially, if you've got 10 PBNs that link out to 3 of your money websites, Google are very, very quickly going to be able to see what your 3 main money websites are and what your 10 PBNs are because they're all interlinked. So I think, you have to be careful with that in terms of leaving a footprint. So don't link out. So there's normally a general rule, don't link out to more than 1 money website per PBN. And it's only simply to avoid leaving a footprint. Yeah. Now, what I said earlier was you can use your PBNs to negotiate links with other people. So you could say to a guy, I'll link out to your money website if you place my money website on your other PBN there and make sure that the whole thing is mixed up as much as possible. But yeah, I think you just have to be careful because it's quite easy. And, I'd love to do it. You build some PBNs and you say, right, I'll stick a link onto that site. I'll stick a link onto that website. And before you know it, you've linked to all your websites. You've just got to remove that from your head and use your PBN as assets to negotiate other links. Some of the PBNs I've built don't actually link to my money website. I'd use them as bargaining tools, to get other links rather than just linking out from every PBN to my website. So yeah, just mix and match. Just think of the footprint all the time, and trying to avoid that footprint, because essentially Google have quite clearly stated that they don't like PBNs. They are actively trying to find people's PBNs, and doing that one thing there could be the one thing that gets your whole network caught, as well as your money websites. So not only does 3 of your money websites go down the toilet pan, all of your PBNs also go down the toilet pan. So it's a very, very dangerous strategy if you were to implement that.
Yeah, I liked your bargaining chip tip thing, because that's what we used to do. Because when we used to build niche websites and we wanted to make links from other Indian-based websites, the
Mm-hmm.
people who just started out and are just blogging for their hobbies or just want to make $100 and running a generic niche site. So we used to just set up an expired domain and put backdate the content and try to rank one post so that it can bring traffic and it can appear on the when they see that on Ahrefs, they can see some traffic over there, and then we
Yeah.
used to use that particular website for negotiation on links, link exchange, and all that stuff,
Yeah,
and it works really great.
that makes sense.
Mhm. Okay, so since we already talked about PBN, so there's one thing, like when we are doing work in these niches, there's a lot of shady things we are gonna do, and but we need to make sure, like we have to stay anonymous, or we have to stay away we have to hide our identity when we are doing all that stuff. So how do you go about that? How do you stay anonymous?
I mean, a lot of people use fake personas.
Hmm.
You can. Google can't see the payment details, so people go crazy. Now you can use fake personas to hide your identity. You can also hide your who is data by paying another $5 a year. You can also use different domain registrars, different hosting companies, and all of that stuff. But the main thing is using fake personas. Most people have 5 or 10 different fake personas that they use for whether it's outreach or whatever you're using it for. So you can set these domain names up to be held by a fake persona as such. Google do not see all of that stuff's encrypted. So a lot of people get concerned saying, well, Google can see that we're still using Vinny's fucking credit card to pay for all this stuff. Google can't see that deep into it. So Google's not that clever. They cannot see encrypted data and payment stuff. So yeah, just mix it up to that level. You don't have to mix up and get prepaid credit cards and all that shit. I know lots of guys that do that because they believe that Google can see everything, but you really don't have to go to that level. Google are not the FBI and don't have access to, and they're not really caring about your shitty little PBNs anyway. In the grand scheme of things, Google have got a lot more things to be worrying about than some guys building some PBNs to try and rank well. Google are well aware that we build PBNs. Google are well aware that SEOs are trying to game the system. What they're trying to do is make it a little bit more difficult. But, us all trying to rank different businesses is what makes the world go round, the economy go round. It makes business go round. And Google can't really stop SEO as such because, out with AdWords is their biggest revenue stream, which is why they're trying to always force AdWords onto everyone. However, SEO still works very well, and Google know that. And I think they don't. They must have been reported PBNs a million times. They just still allow us to do it, and there's nothing they can really do to clamp it down. So I think obviously that's why they've got speakers like John Mueller who'll tell you lie upon lie upon lie of what doesn't work and all that kind of stuff, and that's just to put the masses off because there's so many people out there. If John Mueller says PBNs don't work, 80% of the SEO industry are going to stop using PBNs and say PBNs are the devil. They get scared. The other 20% of the industry who continue doing shit that works are those who are going to continue to make money. And that's good. Google want those 20% of guys still to make money, but they want to scare the masses. And that's how you need to read between the lines in terms of what Google say, what Google do, and what others say as well.
Yeah, we have discussed this thing earlier on other of our some other episodes as well, that what people are trying to do is they are trying to follow each and every one of the SEO. Like even if someone has posted a screenshot of $1,000 earnings, they want to follow them because
Yeah.
they think they can make them as well. But the thing is, I have personally experienced this, that I do niche sites, and I earlier used to do in a specific niche called APK, Android-based websites. So what happened was, an year or two back, someone posted that APK doesn't work anymore, AdSense are getting banned, sites are getting banned, and all that shit. And suddenly, everyone stopped doing it. So if you are following someone, just don't follow them blindly. Do your own research, because maybe they are just trying to get rid of their competition.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Now, when you learn anything, and I include myself in this,
Mm-hmm.
test what the hell I'm saying to you. Don't believe what everything I say, because I might be making a mistake. And as I say, I've got like 5 steps to every process of things that I do. Now, 2 of those steps could be complete bullshit. I just do them because I personally believe that they work. So when I'm buying links, the first thing I do is build citations. I then get some guest posts. I start to get some Web 2.0s. I start to build some PBNs and stuff and so on. Now, someone could say to me, Craig, you're wasting your time building Web 2.0s because they don't fucking work. I don't care. My 5-step process gets me ranking. Now, whether the Web 2.0s are an important part there or make no difference, I believe they do. And that's the difference. So some things that some people say, they might not be deliberately telling you lies. They might just be doing something that means nothing. And, and that's what you also need to take into account as well. Because someone's got, a process doesn't mean it's the perfect process. Try your own shit out and make your own decision, because no one knows everything in this game. That is the key part. None of us know exactly what the fuck Google wants us to do, and we just do a whole bunch of different shit and see what works. And as I say, anytime I talk, I tell people, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff, and that's why I would consider myself an all-round SEO, because I'm not just solely relying on SEO. I'm doing social media, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I do pay-per-click, and that is the way you have to be successful as a digital marketer. Is just try stuff out. And I might never ever beat Neil Patel, for example, in terms of followers on YouTube, but what I'm going to do is make sure that I fucking figure out whether I can make money and improve my SEO by smashing the shit out of YouTube for the next 6 months. And that is all down to CTR manipulation, brand exposure. There's always a goal behind it. But just try shit out. No one said to me you have to do YouTube. I'm just trying it out and seeing what's working. And I used a think outside the box. So I thought, if I give away some of my courses, then I'm going to be able to drive more YouTube subscribers to my channel. Because I'm sitting thinking, going, how do I get more engagement in YouTube? Give away a free course. People love free shit. So that worked for me. So you just got to think outside the box and try it. No one sat, I didn't watch a video of a guy saying, you have to do this. I thought to myself, how the fuck am I going to get 100,000 YouTube subscribers? And then I put shit out there. I talked to Surav and other guys from India and say, let me in your community. Let me talk to some Indian guys, because they're all, there's 1 billion people in your country. And they all love SEO. Well, most of them do, or so it would seem. So I think, again, you've got to just use your common sense and say, where the hell can I get some traction? Whether that's me going to India and, helping the community there, it's going to indirectly help me. And if as I say, I'm trying it out. It may never work, but to me, it's working. And I'm getting more exposure. I'm getting more traction. I'm getting more YouTube subscribers. I'm getting more CTR manipulation. So just try shit out, man. Just make up your own shit as well, and try it out.
Yeah, I say this I say this a lot. Like, if you will never try, you will never know what it's going to be, right? And another thing, like, whenever I go to business, many business come to me and they want to do SEO, but I figure out, like, because they have heard about SEO, but when I take a look at their business, they can't do anything with the SEO in place because it won't give them any results in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
I simply tell them, if you want, you have to find a way where you can get cheap traffic and cheap targeted traffic. You can later retarget the shit out of it. It doesn't matter. But first,
Yeah.
you need to make sure you are getting uh, those targeted users for cheap. Even if you have to hold a placard on the road, like that placard guy who got famous
Yeah.
on Instagram. So whatever works for you, do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I have two questions regarding Parasite SEO, as we already discussed about Parasite. So these two are the most common questions I get around Parasite SEO. First is, what type of content we have to put on the Parasite?
I mean, you have to put good content on there. You can't just put shit on, because, again, I'll use YouTube as an example of Parasite SEO.
Mm-hmm.
What type of video do you think is going to rank well? One, so I could do two videos. I could come on for 10 minutes and just talk shit about title tags and how much money I make and I'm the best guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Or video two, where it's an hour long and I'm showing people stuff. I'm showing them techniques, I'm showing them strategies, and I'm showing them how to make the money, rather than sitting there going, yeah, look, I've got fucking loads of money, man. Look me, man. What's going to work better? What is going to fucking work better? The video that's educational, the video that's giving the best content, the video that's helping people. Don't be a dick on the Parasite. Don't just shove up 200 words and hope that it's going to rank. No matter what you do, whether you're making a video for YouTube, whether you're making a video for your own website, treat it in the same way. Or whether I'm doing a video on your YouTube channel, I'm acting the same way as I would on my own YouTube channel. Don't make it different. Now, I could come on here and say, I'm only doing questions for 15 minutes and you can fuck off because it's not my channel.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Put out good content, help people, educate people, and that's the shit that works. Because I'll put the question to you. Would you watch video number 1, where I talk for 10 minutes about how much money I've got and I can do all that and, show all my cars and do all that stuff, or video 2, where it's educational and it helps you? Of course, video 2 is going to work 10 times better. I might get a few people laugh at video 1 or whatever, but on any Parasite that you use, whether it's video content or whether it's blog posts, put the content out there to the best of your ability. You see people on websites like Medium who are giving you technical SEO guides. Why are they doing that? Well, they're using the platform Medium's power to gain exposure, and obviously the sheer volume of people that use Medium. It's the same with YouTube. It's the same with, Twitch or whatever platform that you decide to use. Always put good content, because people are lazy. People don't want to put in the grind. There is no cheat here. When you do Parasite SEO, the content still has to be good. That's the main thing. You can't get away with just putting out shit stuff. No one's going to listen. Not everyone will get bored, and it's not going to have the traction that works. And anyone who says Parasite SEO doesn't work is clearly a liar, because it does work. I've got videos that rank like fuck overnight on YouTube. Now, in a perfect world, I don't want to be giving YouTube too much content, because I would much rather all the videos were on my own website and all the traffic came to my website. However, YouTube has all the power. everyone's got the YouTube app in their phone and all of that stuff. And that's why we're using parasites. We're using popular YouTube and whatever else is out there to take full advantage so that people can watch my videos and listen to shit in their bed at night or whatever it may be on their mobile or whatever it might be. So that is, all I can really say about Parasite SEO. Think about it logically. Would you watch video 1 or video 2? Which one's going to do best? Which one's going to rank the best? Which one's going to get the most engagement? We all know it's going to be video 2. So that, just don't put bad content out ever, whether it's on a Parasite or on your own website or anywhere else for that matter.
That makes sense. That is basically acting as a gateway content to your main content, right?
Yeah.
That is the reason why people go and build open shops in the malls, because they know that is the gateway to their growing their complete business as well.
Exactly.
That makes really good sense. So the other question of mine was, what type of links you are pointing to your Parasite?
So in terms of the Parasite, I use SEO Autopilot. Sometimes I use GSA, but SEO Autopilot at the moment for me is the best tool out there. I also used to use a tool called Money Robot, which I'm sure some of you guys will be familiar with. They all do the same thing, to be honest. They're all doing Web 2.0s and stuff. I think the benefit of using SEO Autopilot for me is that the chaps at SEO Autopilot are updating their database. They're always adding new Web 2.0 platforms. Not a lot of people use SEO Autopilot. So like GSA, everyone's got GSA. And the big deciding thing with a tool like GSA was importing your own list. Because if you just go into GSA and you spam, the shit that's on there, you're going to get the same links as everyone else. The key part of GSA was scraping up your own list of websites to submit to. And that's where you can get things like GSA to work. But you need to understand how the tools work and what you're submitting to. A lot of people just look for a tool and they just want to press start and, get 100 links. But if you're getting the same 100 links and I'm getting the same 100 links, who's going to win? And that's why, again, using these tools and making sure that you're sometimes using tools that not every other person's using just, again, gives you that competitive edge.
That makes sense. Okay, so these were the top topics we decided to talk about. Do you want to add any other link building tactic you personally use for these niches?
I mean, I think link building is link building. We all have different ways of doing it. I think I buy guest posts from linksforyou.com. As I say, PBNs and everything else. What I would also say is, if you have the ability, go out and get those easy links you can get as well. Industry-related links. Go on and talk in people's podcasts. There's a whole bunch of different other links that you can get without, doing 301 redirects and stuff like that. Exhaust every opportunity you can. If you go onto a webinar or a podcast, 9 times out of 10 you get a link. And just try and utilize all of the kind of easy to get links before you start using the 301 redirects and stuff. Build up a good, solid, clean backlink profile before you start doing 301 redirects and spam and all that kind of stuff. But overall, as I say, a link's a link. If you need to lie, cheat, or whatever to get yourself the best link in the world, do it. We all want the links on the top, most powerful, most relevant websites. And whether you have to take someone out for dinner to get that link, or whether you have to pretend you're a sexy female, through a fake persona, who the fuck cares? One way or another, you know what the goal is. You've just got to come up with the creativity to make sure that fucking thing happens. And, there's guys out there, and I know Indian guys, as well. Pretend to be, Western guys and all that kind of stuff. Because sometimes people frown upon, Indian outreach, and they say, I'm not answering that. So you guys are already being creative by, using females, using Westerner guys. You're already doing half the stuff anyway. And it's about just continuing to do that and continuing to be creative. Because, as I say, some people think Indians are spammers. What are you going to do about it? You can't change the world's opinion. So you guys are going out creating fake personas and trying to do it another way. Some people may think I'm a spammer and they don't want to talk to me. So then I might approach them as a sexy blonde female. It's whatever. It's, I'm not going to change people's opinions about Indians or change people's opinions about me. Some people respond better to different cultures, different personalities, male or female, and again, you've just got to think outside the box and be creative and get that link. And the reason I'm saying the Indian one as an example is I've got a lot of Indian friends and they're always like, why does no one ever reply? And you're like, dude, it's just a thing. And where I'm from, the UK, people just see Indians as downright spammers. And whether that's true or not, a lot of the Indian guys I know are very good at what they do, very clever at what they do, and they're, not really spammers. But I think in general, people associate Indians with doing that. Maybe in years gone by, people have done that or whatever. I'm not sure, but but you've been most Indians or the clever ones are clever enough to box around that and say, right, fuck you, I'll come at you from another angle, and and they do it with a great degree of success. So just keep doing that, and I think you won't go far wrong. It all comes down to budget and how aggressive you want to be. And as I say, in the gambling niche, you just have to be all out aggressive and downright cheat, lie, and pull every creative strategy out your brain to make sure that you get those top links.
That makes sense. So that was all about link building and SEO. I have one more question, the last one. So we built a we find a niche, we built a website, we got the traffic on it as well. Now, how do you find the offers to promote them?
I mean, there's that's the hard part. That's manual. There's no quick way to find that. You simply have to just go out and do your own manual research. You can Google. Now, the reason I'm going to say this is you cannot fucking trust what comes up on Google. So if you Google something like the best affiliate deals for gambling, some motherfucker has made a post with the best affiliate deals that suits him, and you're paying him. So you can't actually trust what is the best deal without manually going through and saying, right, this guy pays 40%, this guy pays 5%, this guy pays 25%, and you go away and pick the 40% because it's the most money for you. You have to do that. Do not just go by what some fucking loser says on a blog, because it's easy for me. I could rank for the best sports gambling affiliate deals out there, and they could all be shit. I may have just got my VA to have pulled 5 together, not giving a fuck, because I wanted to rank for that search term. So do your own manual research. There's no go-to place. You can Google something like sports betting affiliates, and you will see the big boys out there. I don't know who the big boys are in India, to be honest, but there's big gambling companies in the UK. You see their names. They've all got affiliate deals. All the bookmakers, all of that stuff will all give you good deals. You've just got to manually research them and make sure that one thing I would say to look for is the cookie policy on any affiliate. So Amazon, for example, gave you a 24-hour cookie policy so that when someone bought a product on your website, anything else they bought that day was also credited to you. Some people have they don't have a cookie policy. Some people have a 2-year cookie policy. So if someone was on their website in the last 2 years, and then they land in your affiliate deal, you don't get the credit. So make sure you've got something with a sensible cookie policy. And what I mean, if you don't know what a cookie policy is, as I say, Amazon will give you the credit for every sale a particular person does in the next 24 hours after clicking on your link, which is quite generous of them. Some people don't give you as long as that. Some people don't, some people have other crazy cookie policy deals. So make sure you're getting something where you can get a link, get a deal from. So yeah, that's what I would say on that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That is the for your first answer, that you shouldn't believe whatever someone is posting on Google. I will give a real life example. That is the reason why there are lots of so many SEMrush reviews rather than Ahrefs. If you go, and because Ahrefs doesn't have an affiliate program publicly, so there's no point for them to recommend Ahrefs for people unless you are a real SEO.
Yeah, why would you? SEMrush are paying 40%.
Exactly.
Ahrefs are paying you. You have to beg, but it's 20%. So, why would I make a video about Ahrefs unless I'm getting paid for it? It's it's business. Business is business. So, yeah.
And another thing I will add is that you can go to other betting websites and see what type of products they are promoting. Click on that and find the offer yourself. You will find the offer whatever he is promoting, and find the affiliate network for that.
Yeah.
And you will have the best offer for yourself. You just don't have to look for the best affiliate networks. The same thing we do with CPA. We first find the best offer, and then we find the network for that offer.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing in this one as well. Okay, man, that was great. So we can conclude this session, and we can open for Q&A.
Cool.
Okay, guys. So if you have any questions, start posting it in the chat, and I will pick them up one by one. Okay, so we have answered this one. How to build links for traffic for porn site. We have answered that as well. Okay, so let's take this one. Confused about the domain. It has 90% forum links. DR doesn't make a difference, but to mention it is 39. It had 50,000 monthly traffic till January. Wayback is clear. Should I buy this domain or not?
I mean, I don't want to say yes if I can't see the domain name, the actual domain name. If you want to put the domain name in someone else might steal it. Right, so I'll try and give a hypothetical answer here. Confused about a domain. It has 90% forums. DR doesn't make a difference, but to mention it's 39. Wayback is clear. Should I buy this domain or drop it? If it had 50,000 traffic and it's a DR 39, regardless of the forum links or not, I would take it. It's got good traffic. If it's had rankings, then I'd be more than happy to take a chance on that domain name. Whether it's 90% forum links or not, the 50,000 traffic is something that would be enough to convince me that website was worth going for.
Yeah, and make sure that traffic was consistent over a period of time. It was not just single spike in a couple of weeks and vanished. Okay, so this is a Hindi question, but I will translate it for you. Okay, so how to take a PBM backlink from a non-relevant PBM? Does relevancy matters? And so we can take this in both the scenarios, in gambling as well as in the normal niches like affiliate.
I mean, I think getting a relevant website or a relevant PBN that has semi-relevant links is going to stand you in good stead going forward. However, in gambling, people really don't care. They will take anything that's got any link juice, gamblers will take, because people don't link to gambling websites very easily. So if you're doing it in gambling, the relevancy doesn't really matter. No one else is caring about relevancy. If you look at any gambling website out there, affiliate website, you will see they have links from everything. It doesn't really matter. But in terms of doing a good job and best SEO practice, I would be looking for relevancy, mainly because it's going to future-proof your website. Now, whether Google is really hugely big in relevancy or not just now is up for debate. And how relevant does a website need to be? But I certainly think going forward, the relevancy thing is the only thing that Google can now do to flush out crappy backlinks. Make them more and more relevant. It's a surefire way where they can, weed out some of the crap. So I think in terms of future-proofing your business, future-proofing your backlink profile, I would be looking for more relevant than not.
Okay. So I got an expired domain whose homepage was directed to an internal page, not to a different domain. So can I use that for a PBN?
Yeah. Why not? Absolutely no reason at all. As long as those backlink profiles and stuff like that are there, then there's no reason why you can't utilize that for a PBN.
Makes sense. Okay. Can you share an hypothetical example of how you take link for a casino website?
So what the hypothetical example of how you would take a link for a casino website? I mean, it's the same as, I don't want to show anyone's website or anything. I don't operate in the gambling niche as such. But a link in the casino niche is no different from your average link. It'll be placed within an article somewhere. Or sometimes you get an advert placed in a sidebar, to that gambling. It might be an image, like an ad to the gambling website. Some people get that. But a link's a link. It doesn't have a difference. And as I say, I could pull up someone else's website. I just don't want to give away someone else's website or, cause any problems or whatever for someone else. But a link's a link, regardless of whether it's for a casino website or for a builder. Most casino guys have employed an SEO guy to build links. And that SEO guy is going to be looking for the exact same structure, a contextual link on a page that ranks well, that carries some power. And, and in most cases, it's just going to be a contextual link there within an article or blog post. As I say, if you go to a website like the sportsdaily.com or something, they sell guest posts and people per hour. You'll see that every article they've got, it's got like 10 links in it, and they'll be going to casino websites and all sorts of other websites. So go to the Sports Daily and you'll be able to see what they've got on there. But even if you go to something like People Per Hour and just put in gambling links, go and have a look at those websites. As I say, I've got friends who do gambling websites. I just don't want to discuss anyone's website publicly because it's not fair to do that without their permission.
Absolutely. Can we use expired domains content, non-plagiarized, on a fresh new website?
Of course you can. So it's quite common for people who want free content to go to the Wayback Machine and find content on an expired domain name and copy and paste it and steal it. It's free content, so why the hell not? People have been doing that for years, and it's a good way of getting free content. So, if I seen a gambling website that was about to expire and had a whole bunch of good content on it, and I was in the gambling niche, why the hell would I not look at stealing that content? So, of course, 100%. And it's the same with SEO. If, for example, Neil Patel hypothetically was to let his domain name drop or just gave up, retired, whatever, I'll be one of the first ones that are stealing some of his articles and copying and pasting them onto my own website, because he's got thousands and thousands of solid guides that I want as free content if I could get away with it. So yeah, but I'm sure there would be millions of other people with the same idea. But yeah, that essentially that can work, no problem at all.
All right. People say that if a website is 301 redirected to their own website, then it is fine and we can use that expired domain. But I wanted to know that wouldn't it have already passed the juice? It has. He has given an example as well, like New York Times redirecting to NY Times is fine.
I mean, it will have already passed the juice. So New York Times has been redirected to the NY Times. So the juice is passed. So if you were to get New York Times, eventually it'll be drained and it'll be dead. So it would have passed the juice to the New York Times if it was on for a prolonged period of time. However, it's not, again, something I've not single variable tested. If that was to be unredirected, and I would imagine the juice would be passed anyway, but I've never flipped it back to see if the juice would be taken back. There is probably something worth testing there, because the initial website may be still in Google's index, and if that initial website can, still pass juice to your website, it may be the case that works. But I personally would have thought it would already pass the juice, but something you maybe worth testing out, because it's not something I've actually tried as such. Just in theory, juice would be passed, but I'm sure there'll be some weird guy out there that's tried it and said, no, this can work. So yeah, test it, man.
Yeah, test it for yourself, and you will get an answer. Okay. So, can we use an expired domain as a tech website, which was a tech website at first, but used as an adult website in between?
I mean, yes. The only danger with that is if it's been used as an adult website, the chances are it's probably been burnt to death. And the backlink profile and the strategies that adult websites use in terms of automated spam, the topical relevance would probably now be adult rather than a tech website. So I'm not sure. Essentially, in theory, you can, but I'm not sure how badly damaged the website is. I think, when you come into an adult website, once you start using adult anchors and stuff like that, then I think, Google, SEMrush, any of these other tools, look at these words and kind of flag them as toxic, if you like. And I'm not sure you would ever recover from an adult website in full, to be honest.
But let's take a hypothetical scenario here, like that when that website was used as an adult website, it never focused on building new links. It already ranked on the automatically the previous authority. In whether in that case we can use it again.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it comes down to the kind of links that are pointing at it and the anchor text that are used that are going to that domain name. So if it was previously all the kind of tech stuff and everything else that's in there, then obviously you can use that. Or even if it was 50-50, you could probably force it, build more tech links and force it to be seen as a tech website rather than the adult website. But as I say, in most adult niches, they're wild for spam. And I would imagine that will have an outrageous amount of porn links and everything else pointing at it, and it will be, because in the gambling, these people are churning and burning websites for fun. PBNs get used and abused as aggressively as you like, and if that's the case, then you are stuffed.
Great. So I have a personal question here. Like you mentioned a lot of times earlier that about CTR manipulation.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? What tools you use and all that stuff?
So at the moment, I'm playing with different tools. There's a tool out there called ctrbooster.com. However, the CTR that I'm doing is I also use microworkers.com, where you can basically pay people a few cents to watch a video or stay in your website or whatever it's going to be. Now, what I've been able to do because of the kind of profile that I've got online is use my mailing list. So every video I promote, I will send out to hundreds of thousands of mailing list people. I have also set up push notifications so that also I'm growing my push notifications audience. So I use Push Engage for that. So I use that. I also use paid ads. Now, the great thing with SEO for CTR, if I put paid ads on and I use India and Pakistan as the targeted country, I will get clicks for fucking 1p a click. It's so cheap. And you guys
It's 10
have
o'clock.
so many fucking people there that I can literally for $50, $20 literally get thousands and thousands of clicks. So I use that. I've also used paid quota ads where you literally get stuff for a penny a click. And as I say, I gave away a free course, which I funneled people into a group, which I also promote the videos and everything else. So again, that's all done with a view to CTR manipulation. So anything I launch now goes out to paid social media, which is Facebook and Quora. I send out to my mailing list, my push notification subscribers, my Facebook group. So between all of that, I don't really need to use micro workers anymore. The great thing with CTR Booster is in terms of videos and stuff, you can make sure that people stay on videos for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever it's going to be. Use a bunch of proxies and all of that kind of stuff. So that also helps. But I think what I've been able to do is rather than heavily use bots or micro workers, I've now been able to use the profile that I've got because I'm relatively well known in the industry to be able to build an audience to then make sure that click-through rate manipulation works. Now, one reason that I've tried to do this is someone like Neil Patel releases a video, it instantly goes viral. Why is that? It's because of the sheer following the guy has. That's why he dominates. If he releases a video, 100,000 people are going to look at that video overnight. And because 100,000 people have looked at that fucking video or that article or whatever he releases, he instantly gets a massive boost. He instantly ranks well. He doesn't even have to do any work. So I think if you put the work in at the start, then long-term, organically, your click-through rate and everything will kick in, and that's where you get a massive benefit.
Perfect. I was working on a website that sells jackets on an e-commerce store, and they only do blog comments and make all types of spammy links. They never reached at 1% spam score. Why?
I mean, I can't answer why. That would really come down to the tool you're using to check a spam score, and obviously what you feel is spammy links. If people are going to do blog comments work? To some degree, they probably do. Spammy links, of course, you don't want to be doing that. Does it pass juice? Of course, it still does. What you need to remember here is some people may get away with spammy tactics for 3 months, 6 months, 3 years. I've seen real shitty spammy SEO dominate for years on end. Eventually, it will catch up with them if you're confident that they are, spamming the crap out of everything and stuff like that. But in terms of a 1% spam score, I mean, who's saying that scores 1%? These tools are third-party tools that are saying a spam scores 1. When was the last time the tool was updated? Why are we believing what a third-party tool says? Like, I could make a website look like a DR50 overnight if I wanted to. Does that mean it's really a DR50? Absolutely not. And that's why you hear people saying you can't trust DR as a metric. DR is an Ahref score. It's not a Google score. Now, we can use it as a guide as to whether DR is a good link or not, but I'm not a fan of believing in what tools say. That's why even when I'm looking for a link, I want to see, and most of the other guys here will probably agree with this, You want to see that it's had sustained previous rankings over a period of time, not a single spike. You want to see that it's had a whole bunch of keywords that it's ranking for, and then that DR might actually be true. But we looked at something that was on Spamzilla earlier that had a DR of 61, which was clearly manipulated. So you can't trust any of these scores that come out on third-party tools. But as I say, if someone's using spammy tactics, I would always say to someone, don't worry about what other people are doing. Just try and do your own job better. Try and, work hard, knuckle down, get your head down, and try and do the best you can to beat them rather than looking at what spammy crap they're doing, because you can waste so much time and energy on that stuff, and it's not really going to get you any further forward. What are you going to do? Report them to Google? I think focusing your own efforts on that stuff rather than worrying about what their spam score is better use of your time, and try and beat them in the best way possible, and then that'll be the most satisfying thing you can do.
Yeah, and we already discussed the similar topics on the Zoom call, that unless Google is coming to you and telling you that your link is spammy or something like that, it doesn't matter what other tools are saying, because you
Yeah.
have to rank on Google, not on Moz or Ahrefs, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So we have another question. Do you prefer to use safe links directly to your money website or on your Parasite content?
Never, ever, ever send a safe link to your money site. Fuck me. That is taking a massive, massive risk. Again, I'm sure someone has done that with some success, but I would not be pointing a safe link at a money website. It will also always be at a PBN or Parasite or something like that, because a SEO link is not powerful enough to fuck with YouTube or some other parasite, but it's powerful enough to fucking get you a penalty. Believe you me.
Mhm.
These links are pretty grim. They carry a lot of power, but in terms of Google and penalties, I wouldn't want one of them pointing to my website. So always to second tier stuff, parasites and whatnot.
And I can personally vouch for that, because I got my complete network of sites de-indexed due to this. Because one of my partners who was just starting out and was good at building safe links decided that why not get a faster ranking, and he himself pointed all the safe links to our money website without telling me. And some of our competitors picked it up and just reported them. Plainly, we lost all our network overnight.
Yeah, that's a gutter. Not good.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we already answered this one. How to monetize lottery and gambling site.
How to monetize a lot of a gambling website is something something we've pretty much spoke about
Mhm.
throughout the whole last 2 hours. How do you monetize a website? Good content, good links, and rank for competitive keywords. Whether it's a lottery, gambling, or a builder, the only thing that changes is the volume of content and how aggressive your link building strategy is going to be, and how many tricks you're going to have to play. And that will, as I say, we'll go back. You can go over the rest of this video, and you'll be able to see talking about PBNs, 301 redirects, how to find an expired domain name. All of that stuff is going to be required in a lottery or a gambling website. You're just going to have to play those tactics in terms of link building, but everything else remains the same. And you've got to find yourself a good affiliate deal or whatever, with a lottery or some gambling affiliate or some gambling network, and that's how you would monetize it.
Perfect. Okay, so last question we have already answered that one as well. That one as well. 301 to homepage or 312 internal page. I guess we already answered that one.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was all the questions we had so far. Thank you so much for coming to the show, Craig.
No worries. Been a pleasure.
It was a really awesome session because we cleared a lot of misleading topics we discussed about, because there is a lot of misconceptions going around expired domain, PBNs, 301, and all that stuff. And that's what I am trying to clear over here by bringing all the experts in SEO who does their own testing rather than depending on others' testing.
Yeah. Nah, do your own testing, man. And as I say, I do appreciate given the opportunity to speak in front of your audience. It is my goal to become more famous in India. Make sure that I'm more famous than Neil Patel. That's what I want. But nah, it's, as I say, it's a pleasure to come on and speak to different guys with different thought processes. So it's always a pleasure, man.
Okay. So we have this thing that we ask. Do you want to add something from your side, like if someone is entering into an SEO industry, or whether even if they have been going around for 5 years, would you give them an advice from your side?
Of course, I mean, for anyone that is entering the SEO industry and is not too sure where they're at, you know, I've got free courses that are online, so you can obviously have a look at them, some videos there. But advice that I would always give to any SEO is take action. Now, everyone, including people in the comments there, quite clearly know what they're doing. They talk about expired domain names, they talk about redirects, they talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. Now, talking is one thing, actually putting it into practice is the other. And in my experience, most SEOs do not practice what they preach. And they talk a lot about this stuff. They don't do PBNs, they don't do 301 redirects, they don't take risks, they still do the same old shit. They're lazy, they don't do any work. So take action is what I would say to anyone. Do not sit and watch this video for 2 hours and then not take action, try anything out. Take fucking action is all I can say to anyone. If you take action, you start to see things work. If you don't take action, and listen, I know that you've probably seen a million other guys say, take action, do this, do that. If you take action on the stuff that I'm telling you to do, you know, I've got a reputation for being straightforward, honest, and giving up-to-date information. What I'm saying actually works. Now, I know you might never believe that, but you've got to take action. You've got to take a chance on what someone's saying, because what I'm saying works is going to different. You know, you could get another guy on here next Saturday and he's going to say, Craig's full of shit. What I can tell you is that I do rank very well. I make a hell of a lot of money doing SEO. I wouldn't have stood the test of time. I don't get to speak at the top conferences in the world because I'm a bullshitter. You know, you've got to take action from someone, and you've got to follow. I'm not saying just follow me.
Mm-hmm.
Follow a handful of people. Don't listen to what all of the 50 other guys out there or 150 guys out there are saying. You've got to follow a handful of guys. Now, I'm not saying everything I do is perfect and everything I've done is correct. I've made so many fuck-ups in my career that is unreal. But then I can now go on a webinar and say, don't fucking do this. Don't do that, because I've been there, done it. Don't waste 5 years of your time fucking things up the same way I did. So you have to take action. Do not follow the masses. Find 3 or 5 guys that you really fucking like. Now, that could be Digital Pratik in India, really good at all the social shit and all that stuff. It could be me. It could be Neil Patel. It could be Matthew Woodward. It could be Matt Diggity. There's a whole bunch of different guys doing different stuff. But follow 5. Do not follow 10, because that's where the information and the confliction and the confusion comes into play. Because I spent 5 years of my career thinking that Blackhat SEO or all these dodgy things were the devil. I thought white hat SEO. Someone told me white hat SEO, don't cheat, don't do this. And I spent 5 years and I wasn't making any money and I wasn't ranking for shit. And I'm like, something fucking has to change here. So I then started trying out stuff and I started making money. and I consistently have made money since then. But I spent 5 years listening to wankers telling me lies upon fucking lie on what works. And don't do that, man. Just follow guys that have proven track records, and you won't go far wrong, man. So take that advice and do something with it.
Thank you so much, man. So there's one last thing. We are just starting it out with this video itself. So since you have been in industry for so long, I would ask you to recommend 3 guys you would want to come on this show, because we want to bring real guys on this show, and already know everyone over there.
I mean, 3 guys. I'm going to give you 3 different guys. These are not necessarily the top guys. I think having a variety of guys. So one, I think you've got someone saying nice tattoos. Thank you. Tattoos all over. I think one guy that would be good for you is a guy called Mads Singers. Now, Mads is a very good guy at managing people, managing teams, and sorting out processes. Now, that's a big problem in this industry. People don't have the right processes, and they don't have the right people, and they don't have the right management skills to scale a business, an SEO business. Mads Singers is one guy. You've got Digital Pratik, who I'm sure you all know anyway. He's very famous in India. Digital Pratik, what that guy's doing in terms of exposure on social media, which you can then follow suit and use it as a click-through rate manipulation technique, it's amazing. So I would love to hear Digital Pratik, what process he's doing and how the fuck he is scaling his YouTube, his TikTok, all of his stuff. That guy's doing amazing stuff. And I would use that. Digital Pratik's not an SEO guy. He's a marketer. And
social media marketing guy.
Yeah, so social media marketing. But I think you could utilize that to then, do the click-through rate manipulation thing. And I think other SEO guys out there, like Matt Diggity, who buys and sells a lot of websites, the same as me, has massive experience in the SEO industry. Matthew Woodward. There's so many names I could give you. These are all top guys. But what I wanted to do was give you a mixture of different people. There's no point in listening to the same type of thing. Guys that buy and sell Amazon affiliate websites or whatever. You need people in this industry like Mads Singers, who's very good at the people management side of things. And he helps train you. He coaches you, gives you tips. Get him on. I can put you in touch with him, by the way, if you want. Matthew Woodward, really good. And as I say, Digital Pratik is doing really good stuff in social media, and clearly the numbers that guy's doing make him stand out more than most. The thing with Digital Pratik is he's taking fucking action. He's got a guy filming every single fucking thing he does and just puts out. Look at the volume of content that guy's putting out. It's so big, massive. And that's why he's doing it, because he's taking fucking action. So I would get him on and say, Digital Pratik, what fucking action are you doing? What tools are you using? Show me how to do some of this shit. And I think it will stand you in good stead going forwards, for anyone listening to this show.
Awesome. I personally know the guy who films Digital Pratik. So we have been talking about different strategies and how he works and all that stuff, because he is active himself on the social media.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Craig. It was truly a pleasure having you on the show.
No worries at all. Pleasure. And if anyone wants to give me a shout, feel free to shoot me a message on social media. You'll find me somewhere if you want to catch up with me in the future.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So Craig has a free course going on, Blackhat SEO course and affiliate course as well. So you can go to his website, craigcampbellseo.com/free SEO course, and you can look out all the courses he is giving out for free, and you can even join his group if you want.
Yeah.
So make sure you check it out. You have got so much of knowledge over here, and you will get a lot more over there, and in a much better way, in a much refined way over there. So make sure you go and subscribe to those.
Perfect, Vinny. It's been a pleasure, man.
Likewise. Okay.
Thank you, man.
Okay, I will end this broadcast.